And live here at noon, the weather seems to have calmed down a bit. It is still cold and windy, but at least we are past the blowing snow. That horizontal snow we saw this morning, look at that. Almost looks like a whitewater rafting, but that's actually blowing snow. It's been a wild 24 hours, tornado threats and a winter storm. We also have breaking news this noon. We've learned a second pilot has died in a mid-air helicopter collision. We're going to tell you what we have learned so far about the two victims who did know one another well. And good afternoon. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at noon. I'm Anthony Ponce in for Sylvia. After spring-like temperatures over the weekend, winter came a-roaring back today. Roseanne Tejas has more on how people are coping up in Skokie.
Well, this is about as bad as it's going to get, in the low 20s, but it was much colder this morning, made worse by some really brutal winds.
I had to clean off my car this morning, and I was not excited to do that. I was not a fan of the snow. It was very annoying to drive, and I was not happy when I woke up.
Now, not only was it a brutally cold start to the day, it was also snowing, and with those winds, conditions were downright hazardous. Snow was blowing in waves, making travel very challenging. In fact, it was a great day to stay home and start a fire. But for those who don't have the day off, it was back to work and back to reality after an unseasonably warm Sunday.
Well, I was expecting it to be another warm day, but it was freezing.
It's terrible. It's the wind's blowing, the snow is everywhere, it's covering the windows. I can't open my windows, so yeah, it's dangerous.
Driving over on this weather, it's not easy. It is more business. People don't want to walk single block this weather in Chicago.
Got a day off and you ventured out anyway.
You know what? The world runs with Duncan, and so do I.
Well, for people who still have some holiday time away from work, it might be a good day to snuggle up and stay inside. But if you go outside, you're definitely going to want to bundle up. And be careful for those slick spots on the roads. In Skokie, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
I like that free plug for Duncan there. Hot coffee was the order of the morning. And before the snow, we had dangerous winds as well, and now cleanup is well underway across central Illinois. The National Weather Service in Long Creek surveying the damage there. It appears that a possible tornado touchdown in Livingston County. That same storm ripping the roof off of the gym at Prairie Central Junior High. Superintendent there says amazingly no classrooms were damaged. The storm snapped trees. One landed right on top of a woman's home. That woman was inside when it happened.
I heard the hail first, and I went to the back of the house to look outside, and then I heard the wind. So I ran to my hallway because that's the only safe place in my house. And then I heard a big crash at this end of the house. And when I was able to come look, this tree had come down and it put a hole in my roof of my house and a hole in the roof of my garage out here.
Yes, right now, fortunately, no reports of any injuries. So let's take a live look outside right now at our current conditions. You can see the pavement there still a little on the damp side as we toss things over to Caitlin Cody with a look at how the rest of Monday is going to shape up. Looks a little bit calmer out there, Caitlin.
It does, absolutely. This morning, it was treacherous. We had slick roads, the snow falling, the snow blowing, dropping visibility. Now, we still have the potential for flurries throughout the afternoon. Behind me, our satellite radar is showing quite a bit of blue over Chicagoland. I do expect, again, that you're going to see some flurries around. Now, this looks like a little more snow than is actually reaching the ground. But with that being said, keep an eye out for slick conditions. And the wind, it is still gusty out there. We actually have expanded our wind advisory until 3 p.m. from Porter to LaPorte in Berrien County because of the gusty conditions. Right now, 37-mile-per-hour wind gusts happening in Aurora, 33 at Midway, 36 at LaSalle, 34 in Valpo. So it is still gusty outside, and the temperatures, they're cold. We're in the low to mid-20s right now, 24 degrees at the lakefront as well as O'Hare, 21 in Aurora, 21 in DeKalb. So the feel-like temperature down into the single digits, 10 at the lakefront, 9 at O'Hare, down to 4 or 5 degrees for our western counties. So it is going to be a cold rest of our day. Again, a few flurries around. Luckily, Things are calming down compared to what we had this morning, but we have more snow in the forecast over the next couple of days, and it is going to be a cold week. A full check of your 7-day outlook is ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. We'll check back in. Breaking news to get to. The second helicopter pilot has died following the mid-air collision we've been following out of New Jersey. This happened over the weekend, and authorities are still trying to figure out how these two choppers crashed into one another just minutes after taking off together. Sue Guzman has more on the deadly crash.
A helicopter was seen spiraling to the ground in Hamilton, New Jersey on Sunday after crashing into another helicopter.
It was shocking. Still shaking a little bit to see that happen.
Rescue crews responded to a report of a crash at 11:25 a.m. and extinguished one of the helicopters that was engulfed in flames. Police say 2 pilots were involved in the crash. One was killed in the collision. The other is in critical condition. Hamilton Police Chief Kevin Friel says the crash occurred about a mile away from where they took off at the town's municipal airport.
Reports were that they were flying in tandem, that they were flying close together, which is probably what caused the collision to occur.
Authorities say both helicopters were privately owned and no other passengers were on board besides the pilots. Witnesses said the 2 pilots knew each other well and often had breakfast together at a local cafe, including on the day of the crash.
They come in every week or every other week. They fly in together. They seem to be very nice people.
Meanwhile, Chief Friel says the helicopters avoided further damage as they hit the ground away from populated areas.
And looking around the area of that 1-mile radius, there's a lot of nursing homes, there's commercial buildings, there's a lot of things that could have really made it worse.
Officials with the National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration are heading to the scene to investigate the cause of the crash, including if technical issues or pilot error were involved. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
And we have some new information as well on a crash that involved a CPD squad car. Police say an 18-year-old is in custody after hitting that squad overnight. Officers were heading south on Racine when a car ran past the stop sign and hit the squad car. This was right at the intersection of Waveland and Racine. 2 officers were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The driver was also taken to the hospital in critical condition with charges against that 18-year-old pending. Chicago police are also searching for a group of men in connection to a mass shooting in River North, which happened early Sunday morning. This happened right near the corner of LaSalle and Hubbard. Police say the victims were getting inside a car when 4 men shot them. The shooting killed 1 person and left 3 others in critical condition. Other news happening right now, the Budget Committee is meeting to finalize the 2026 Chicago City budget. The council passed an alternative budget to the one that the mayor had proposed, which did include a corporate head tax. That's not part of this package. And today, Alderman Anthony Beal praised the council for passing a balanced budget.
It's amazing to me how all of a sudden, you know, everything is balancing out like we projected. And we're not going to have cuts and layoffs and furloughs and all those things. So I just think it's really amazing that we are to where we are today.
The mayor says he won't sign the budget that the council passed, but that he's not going to veto it either. The new year is just a couple days away now, and on the 1st, we're going to get several new laws going into effect, including the squatter bill, which actually cuts down on the time that you'd have to wait in court for police to remove any squatters in a property. Another new law protects schools from having to share the immigration status of students and their families. Also, Scott's Law is expanding. This is that move over law, punishing drivers who fail to move over for cars that are stopped on the side of the road. The expanded version of Scott's Law includes emergency scenes of any kind. Got to move over a lane. All right, also happening today, Mayor Brandon Johnson, along with other city leaders, they're going to share its plan to keep everyone safe during New Year's Eve. Chicago's annual party will be a little bit bigger this year since it will be broadcast nationwide. Casey Cronus will have the very latest coming up a little later in the hour. Quick reminder for commuters, the State and Lake L station will be closed next week for a major upgrade. Chicago Department of Transportation says instead of fixing it, they are going to simply tear it down and replace it. Probably won't be so simple. CTA station will not reopen for about 3 years. Work starts on January 5th, so gear up for that. Millions of people were flying this weekend after Christmas and before New Year's celebrations. Some travelers experiencing delays, even cancellations, as we take a live look inside the terminal at O'Hare. So far today, we have tallied up 101 flight cancellations. So be sure to check the status of that flight before heading out. Fox's Oliviana Calms is the St. Louis airport. Oliviana, how is it looking down there? What are folks saying about life at the airport this weekend? How busy are we talking?
Hey, well, I know you guys are experiencing a lot of cancellations and delays over there. You guys just missed. There was a huge group that just went through this ticketing line. So it's been a steady stream of travelers throughout today. Here, people extending their Christmas plans or getting somewhere for a New Year's party, maybe Chicago. But really, we saw a lot of travelers this weekend. On Sunday, TSA projected a big number. We actually saw above that number, about 2.92 million travelers ended up passing through. That's about 60,000 more than TSA originally projected. As far as flight prices this year, they've been a bit more expensive. According to AAA data, a domestic flight is about 7% more this year. They reported flying the days leading up to Christmas. As we know, some of the more expensive flights on the holiday, they got a little bit cheaper, and then they went back up for this New Year's Eve and New Year's, the days surrounding then. I talked to some travelers here to ask how smooth it's been getting to and from places for the holidays.
We left on the 26th and really expected the worst and were pleasantly surprised. It was pretty easy.
We lost our stroller and car seat when we landed at our destination, but we got it back the next day, and other than that, travel was great.
We actually went to Baltimore to go to a cruise in the Bahamas. It was on the ordinary Christmas. Yeah, so travel was good. Little bumpy on the way out and the way in, but not too bad.
A couple bumps along the way, not horrible, but not everyone is flying over the Christmas and New Year's holiday. Gas right now is cheaper than it was last year. We're seeing that about 20 cents less. Right now, the national average is $2.83. But as far as delays and cancellations, if people did choose to fly, you know, you guys, like I said, have been hit with a lot of that. There are hundreds of cancellations, over 1,000 nationwide, and even more delays everywhere in the U.S. if you tally those up. I'll send it back to you.
Yes, quite the mess at many spots. Thank you very much, Liviana. Appreciate it, and safe travels to all. It is 12:12 back here in Chicago, and out in California last night, it was a shootout. Bears came up just short against the Niners. Caleb Williams threw for 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift added 2 more on the ground, but Bears went on to lose 42-38. And coming up, Cassie Carlson will give us some reaction from the Bears locker room as they look ahead to take on Detroit here at Soldier Field on Sunday. All right, more news ahead for us here on the Fox 32 News at noon. Another major meeting for President Trump, the big name about to join him at Mar-a-Lago this week. And apparently there is such a thing as a free ride. Guess what? How you can get home safely on New Year's Eve without paying a dime. Welcome back. It's another high-stakes meeting today for President Trump in Florida as he hosts Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. There are growing questions over whether the deal can move to its next phase. This is the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Madeline Rivera has more on the challenges ahead.
This is the second of two big meetings happening at Mar-a-Lago this week aimed at resolving the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza.
This gentleman has worked very hard and is very brave.
After meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart Vladimir Zelensky, President Trump says negotiators are closer than ever to a deal that could end Russia's war.
There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well.
But he warns talks could still break down with both sides still at odds over whether Russia can keep Ukrainian territory it controls.
We have to respect our law and our people. We respect the territory which we control. And of course, our attitude is very clear.
Today, President Trump will try to advance phase 2 of the Gaza peace deal when he meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Florida. The plan calls for Israel to fully withdraw from the Gaza Strip and Hamas to lay down its weapons. But Israel has refused to move to the next phase until it receives the remains of the final hostage. Netanyahu is also reportedly seeking approval for another strike against Iran's ballistic missile program over concerns Tehran is rapidly rebuilding its stockpile.
There still are ballistic missiles. There's still some levels, some supplies of enriched uranium there, and the Israelis have very good reason to be fearful of that.
Iran's president is accusing the U.S., Israel, and Europe of waging a full-scale war on his country and warns of a decisive response if Israel decides to strike. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
A new report suggests the Trump administration is using a federal law to look into companies' use of diversity, equity, and inclusion in their hiring. The False Claims Act is usually used to go after companies that bill the government for work that's never completed. The Trump administration believes if a company holds a federal contract and still uses DEI while hiring, that it is committing fraud against the government in their minds. The Justice Department says the man accused of planting pipe bombs in D.C. ahead of the January 6 riots has confessed. He allegedly told investigators that he wanted to speak up for those who believed that the 2020 election was stolen. He said he dislikes both parties and modeled his attack on the Troubles in Ireland. Prosecutors say both cell phone data and credit card receipts linked to this gentleman and the two pipe bombs. Fortunately, those bombs never detonated. He faces up to 20 years in prison if he is convicted. In Mexico, more than a dozen people are dead and dozens others injured after a train derailed. Mexico's government says this happened on a train linking two Mexican states between the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Authorities say the train derailed as it passed a curve. All right, let's take a live look outside right now. Not much of a view. That looks certainly dreary, Caitlin Cody. Not the prettiest outside today.
But let's bring it close to ground, and it is pretty, Anthony. It's pretty, I promise. We'll look at the bean where it's almost a snow globe.
The bean, a little snow globey, and there's plenty of people out there. Although Caitlin,
yes.
Single-digit wind chill?
Yes, it is kind of brutal, but look at that. It is busy outside.
They don't seem to mind.
Look at everybody down here ice skating. Yeah. This is like a holiday movie. I love it. Yeah, we do have light snow coming down. Obviously, the cold weather not stopping folks from getting out and about. Temperatures feeling like the single digits, as Anthony mentioned, because not only is it cold, but we also have gusty winds still happening out there. But if you can dress the right way, I encourage you to enjoy it downtown. If you will be traveling, though, take it easy on the roads. I do expect slick conditions still. With the gusty wind and the snow that's fallen so far, the continued snowfall currently, even though light, I do expect that we're going to have drops in visibility. Temperatures outside are in the 20s. So I'm seeing 24 degrees at the lakefront, 23 in Gary, 27 at Michigan City, and 21 in Aurora. So western areas, low 20s, and that's where it feels like you could be in the single digits, too. Here is our future cast. Let's take you through the rest of your day. So highs in the 20s today. I expect the mid-20s for us in Chicago. By this evening, temperatures are going to be dropping back down into the teens. 7:15, you can see it's 19 degrees at O'Hare, but a drying trend is expected. So we do have that potential for some flurries around this early afternoon. And then tomorrow, the chance for some light snow is back in the afternoon again. Temperatures only in the 20s for your Tuesday. So some scattered snow for tomorrow afternoon. Again on Wednesday, we have the chance for some snow around. As we take a look at the temperatures, 5:30 in the morning on Wednesday, we're at about now 30 degrees, so finally cracking into the 30s on Wednesday. But with that chance for snow, it still could be slick out there. 3-day forecast, temperatures right at freezing Wednesday. Now, what about the extended forecast? This weekend, I'll show you your full outlook coming up. Back to you.
Okay, we'll see you shortly for that. Caitlin, thank you so much. Yeah, New Year's Eve ball drop in Times Square, just hours away at this point. Taking on a patriotic spin this year to celebrate America's big birthday year. After the official New Year's ball drop, a second post-midnight ball will light up with the America 250 design. We're turning 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. All right, to top it off, 2,000 pounds of red, white, and blue confetti will drop on the crowd. And here is your official invite. If you got no plans to leave the house on New Year's Eve, hey, here's your official invite. Celebrate with us right here on Fox Chicago. Join Anita Blanton, Jake Hamilton. They're going to be live from Tao Chicago nightclub as we celebrate New Year's. From Times Square to Texas with performances by Bun B, Cupid, Cleo Fox. Other entertainers are going to join the show as well. Fox Local New Year's Eve Live. Party starts at 10 p.m. on Fox 32 and Fox Local Chicago. We hope you will tune in. All right, CTA and Metro are teaming up to make sure that Chicagoans who do go out will stay safe ringing in the new year. CTA once again offering free rides on trains and buses starting from 10 p.m. on December 31st. These free rides run through 4 a.m. on January 1st. People can also ride the Metro for free after 6 p.m. on December 31st. Here's the key, everybody. Alcohol will be banned on all trains after 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve. All right, coming up for us, if you notice a lot of folks that are sick in your social circle, yeah, it's not just your imagination. It's a bad year for the flu especially. We're going to talk about more reasons to wash your hands this time of year.
Could your holiday gathering have gotten you sick? It's very possible due to a nationwide rise in flu cases. I'm Steve Harrigan in Atlanta. That story ahead.
Also, an epic fail for most of us. Why resolutions, those New Year's resolutions, don't seem to stick. We'll explain.
Are you ready?
Welcome back. If it seems like everyone around you is sick, and I just got a text message from a loved one that one of my loved ones who was at our house was sick, you are not wrong. This is not in your imaginations. Flu cases are up. Cases are expected to go up in the wake of Christmas gatherings. We're checking in with Steve Harrigan, who has more.
The flu is hitting people hard this season, and it may get worse in the days following Christmas gatherings. Cases are skyrocketing, up nearly 15% from the previous week, according to the most recent CDC data released ahead of the holiday.
We're seeing places all across the country hitting high levels of flu transmission.
The super flu, rampant in states like Colorado, Louisiana, and New York, with the Empire State breaking a record for the most cases documented in a one-week span. The nationwide spike due in part to the new highly transmissible variant H3N2 and low vaccination rates.
I do worry that when we see a new variant, it does tend to mean that that has escaped our immunity to some extent.
Health experts say the virus started early this year, with cases surging in November to levels typically seen in late December, contributing to the estimated 1,900 deaths, including at least 2 children.
Starting beginning of December, we have seen an uptick in emergency room cases, especially for children.
The new severe strain tends to be more infectious, with symptoms including fever, cough, body aches, and fatigue. And even though the variation is not included in this season's vaccine formulation, experts are urging folks to get it.
You can still get a flu case, but you're not going to be as sick because you still have those antibodies causing, to help protect you from a more severe infection.
Doctors say hand washing is still the most effective way to prevent spreading the flu. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox Chicago.
Can parents expect more changes to kids' vaccines? Well, today, the advisory committee panel met to discuss V-Safe that monitors people's responses to the RSV and COVID vaccines. We will keep you updated on what they learn and what they decide. All right, many people use January as a time to cut back on booze. This is obviously it's known as Dry January. And a study from Brown University found that you don't have to give it up completely to see benefits. People who drank less were more likely to keep cutting back months later and said that they felt mentally better as well. Those who did stop drinking for the full month saw better sleep, lower blood sugar levels, and improved liver health. New data show that 41% of people make New Year's resolutions every year, but only about a quarter actually stick with them past the first month. The most common goals include exercising more, saving money, eating healthier, and spending more time with family and friends. Also, losing weight's a big one. Experts say having realistic goals, making small changes, and tracking your progress can help boost your chances of success. All right, last night was a wild finish for the Bears against the 49ers. We're going to have some reaction from the Bears locker room to share with you right after this. Welcome back. As the countdown to midnight begins, city officials are gearing up for New Year's Eve. Casey Cronus is live downtown with a look at this year's plans for traffic and crowd control and, of course, safety. Casey, good afternoon.
Hey, Anthony, that's right. And there will be New Year's Eve celebrations taking place all throughout the city, including festivities at Navy Pier and just below us on the Riverwalk. To get ready, city officials have already started to close down streets. This morning, Franklin between Lake and Wacker were shut down as the stage is set for the Art on the Mart fireworks display. Free admission to that area will begin at 5 p.m. on the 31st with on-stage performances starting at 9 that night. Meanwhile, another fireworks display will light up the sky from Navy Pier, where the Aeon Ballroom will once again host guests for a night of fun. Now, street closures will continue throughout the week, and if you are traversing the city, keep in mind 6 major bridge closures will take place 11:30 p.m. on the 31st, including the bridge at Wabash, Clark, LaSalle, and on Columbus. The bridges will stay shut down for about an hour while those fireworks displays kick off. Reporting live downtown, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
All right, Casey, thank you so much. And on that note, as we take a look at some foreboding-looking cloud cover right there, Caitlin, there's going to be a lot of folks downtown New Year's Eve. What is the word on how cold it is going to be?
Low that night, around 10.
Around 10.
Yeah.
Oh, you better bundle up.
It's going to be cold. Absolutely. And even early this afternoon. It's beautiful when you get close to ground. That shot did look gray and dark, but we do have some flurries around. It's kind of that snow globe appearance. Very windy, though, and you saw that live look even, where the wind is whipping. We have winds up to 40 miles per hour plus possible over the next few hours. So the high winds are going to continue. That snow is going to be blown around. We could see drops in visibility. And cold temperatures for New Year's Eve, yes, it's in the forecast. So let's talk about it first. Satellite radar showing the blue covering Chicagoland. So you may see this snow coming down, especially where you have that darker blue color over most of Cook County out to DuPage County, Kane County. It is light snow, but any snow at all blown around is going to drop visibilities on the roadway. So take your time. Now, talking about the temperature, this is our 24-hour temperature change, 30 to 35 degrees colder right now compared to yesterday at this time, leaving us in the 20s. A good mix of the low to mid 20s out there with wind speeds, as mentioned, at 40 miles per hour plus possible. Right now, we're looking at 38 miles per hour in Morris, 37 miles per hour in Aurora, 26 in Gary. So it is gusty. Wind chill. The feel like temperature down to 9 at O'Hare, 4 in DeKalb, 5 in Aurora, 11 at the lakefront. So if you are downtown, it feels like 11 degrees. Here's your future cast. We have the potential for flurries this afternoon as we head into tomorrow, starting off dry, but we have the chance for some spotty light snow in the afternoon yet again. Tomorrow is going to be another day in the 20s, and then temperatures pushing into the 30s for your Wednesday, but we are seeing some snow still around. So our 7-day forecast, let's break this down for you. Today, mid to upper 20s. Same thing tomorrow, perhaps a couple degrees warmer. Some light snow around tomorrow as well as on Wednesday. Wednesday, a high of about 32, and then I teased a low of 10 into Thursday morning. 20 for the first of next month, the first of the year, as our high. It's going to be a very cold day on Thursday. Friday, right around 25. And then this upcoming weekend, temperatures slightly better. Low 30s are expected Saturday and perhaps pushing above freezing for Sunday. So in the meantime today, luckily, it's not as bad as it was this morning. I'm talking about conditions outside for travel, but we still have that light snow coming down. Temperatures as cold as they are, I do expect slick spots, especially on untreated surfaces. So take it easy and be careful out there today. Anthony.
Okay, good advice, Caitlin. Thank you so much. Well, the Bears will turn their focus to the final game of the regular season after last night's narrow loss to the 49ers. Caleb Williams threw for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns. Came up just short on the final drive of the game. Cassie Carlson has more now from Santa Clara.
Bears players said the way this game ended reminded them of the way the Green Bay game ended a few weeks ago. And despite having 6 comeback wins in the fourth quarter this season, Colston Loveland said it felt like a slap in the face to fall to the Niners in the way they did Sunday night, despite them being one of the hottest teams in the NFL. And while the Bears have already clinched their division title that earns them at least one home playoff game, the feeling was frustration after their Sunday night loss in Santa Clara.
that's what everyone was saying. You know, obviously they're really rolling right now. Their offense is really hot, scoring a lot of points. So the message for us was we gotta match that. We're close, but came up short. So we gotta go fix some things.
Everybody in this locker room respect us to finish. That's what we've been doing all year. We came up short today, so we got to get back to work and fix us now.
Always gonna be there. We're how we work, and we just came up short today, and that's never come down to one play. We made mistakes offensively throughout the game that kind of put us in that position. We knew we was going to be in the shootout. We got to score more points than they do.
I think as a defense, we just made too many mistakes. Bad eyes at times, not good enough pursuit angles. Myself included. Like I said, I just think everybody on the defense, we just, I don't think really anybody played well enough to be able to get the win today.
I think we've proven who we are. We'll fight, and I think we're a team to be reckoned with, and so I'm excited for this next game. I'm excited to go back and watch this film and figure out how we can better, how we can put up more points, how we can be more efficient maybe on offense for moments like this, because we may see this team again.
The Bears will have one final home game of the regular season at Soldier Field. That is next week, hosting the Lions. The NFL announcing it will be a 3:25 kickoff right here on Fox Chicago, your home of the Bears. Covering the Bears in Santa Clara, Cassie Carlson, Fox Chicago Sports.
And we are used to seeing photographers on the sidelines at the Bears game, but one person we saw this weekend is used to being in the limelight herself. We're not sure if this is a career change or more of her pride in her husband and Bears player, Jonathan Owens. That was from the Bears-Steelers game last night at Levi's Stadium. She sure looked official there. She had a media vest on, was using a professional camera. The NFL posted saying it was just a little side gag. There she is. Yeah. All right, more news and weather still ahead on the Fox 32 News at noon. Stay with us.
Good news for people with Medicare.
All right, looking ahead to next year's tax season, President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill Act could lead to some major changes to your bill, and this includes a raise in the standard deduction. Singles, people filing individually here, will get an additional $750 deduction, while married couples filing jointly will get an extra $1,500. Additionally, the state and local tax deduction cap will jump from $10,000 to $40,000. Those changes and more could mean a bigger refund or bigger bill at tax time. All right, let's take a live look at the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, the Dow trading at just over 48,500. And now it's time to look at the rest of our business headlines with Max Gordon.
It's the last week of the year, and we're waiting to see will we end it with a Santa Claus rally? That's when the markets rise in the last trading week of December and the first 2 trading days of the new year. Got holiday returns? You'd better get a move on them. Best Buy cuts them off on January 15th, Target on the 24th, Amazon and Walmart the 31st. A growing number of couples are opting to tie the knot during the quiet week between Christmas and New Year's Day. Planners say winter decor like candles, greenery, and string lights can be reused and keep decorating costs down. Some vendors advise booking early. And the new Times Square Ball is ready to make its debut, but a large portion of Americans say they're not planning on going out for New Year's Eve. A new survey showing 24% want to ring in 2026 surrounded by friends and family, while 35% plan to just stay home and watch TV. 20% say they're hitting the hay early, and 10% say they're just going to be scrolling social media as the ball drops. And even worse, 1 in 5 people say they would rather have a root canal than attend a New Year's Eve party this year. In Los Angeles, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
Welcome back. Today, we are taking holiday entertaining back to the 1920s, the roaring 20s. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. Well, that whole era inspired dishes to vintage cocktails and other traditions. And joining us now is Veronica Hinke to talk more about her book, The Great Gatsby, Cooking and Entertaining Guide. I've never heard the story like approached from the culinary side of things, so I'm absolutely fascinated by this. How did you get inspired to take this to new heights? So The Great Gatsby, but like, you know, all the cooking and cocktail aspect of this and publish it.
Well, I just love the history of food and cocktails, and there's really a great lens behind the story of The Great Gatsby and the era when it was published 100 years ago this year.
It's been 100 years, so we are celebrating like a century since this American classic came out. I love the outfit, by the way. What in your mind kind of defines entertaining in that area? I mean, I've seen actually both the Robert Redford and the Leonardo DiCaprio version of it, so it was over the top.
In Chapter 2 of The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote about the salads of Harlequin design. And I think they were the gelatin salads that were so popular then because gelatin had just been invented. So home cooks and chefs everywhere were working with it, and they were making beautifully molded, colorful salads with everything from pineapple to cherries, and it can really be a centerpiece of your party or holiday
Is
table.
that stuff going to make a comeback? Because it was huge when I was growing up. I remember my grandma used to make it with, like, you know, bananas and pineapple inside. It was delicious. I loved it as a kid, but then I feel like I haven't seen a Jell-O mold in some time.
And they're so easy to find online, and you can find vintage copper molds. You can make them in the shape of a star or a heart or whatever you feel like you want to add to your party.
That is so cool. What else could we find in this book here? Because it's not just about, you know, the sweet dishes, too.
Right. Well, another thing that was very popular, it had just become popular to can vegetables and pickles and pickling pickled mushrooms, pickled asparagus for your party table, for your appetizers.
Sure.
And also deviled foods. That's where we get the word deviled eggs, because a little paprika would be on top of deviled eggs then, and when they were the basic eggs like, you know, we grew up with, and the paprika gave it a little heat. So it's not necessarily spicy, but heat that gives those foods the word deviled, and this is the origin of it, was this era.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I noticed that you had a little intro regarding Prohibition. How did Prohibition play a role in this whole dynamic here and the cocktails that it kind of maybe not purposely spawned?
Well, another food trend that it spawned is the word cocktail in recipes like shrimp cocktail. We get that word from the cocktail glasses that were used to present shrimp and cocktail
Because they couldn't
sauce.
fill it with booze?
They couldn't fill it.
I didn't know that. That's right.
China cabinets full of wedding gifts that they couldn't use anymore because they couldn't drink as much as they had before. And so they found ways to put in fruit cocktail is another example where you can put a dish of fruit together with a little mint and serve it in a cocktail glass, a coupe glass, or any kind of cocktail glass.
Oh my gosh, what else would be, there's some actual food recipes in here as well from the Roaring 20s. What are some of the highlights that people will find?
One of my favorites is the salmon loaf. I love how you can present it as a large centerpiece entree without, if you don't want to roast a whole turkey, you can use some canned salmon, which also was very popular in the 1920s when the book was published. And F. Scott Fitzgerald was known to snack on tinned meats that were available for the first time in tins.
I don't know if we can get a close-up of this. Here is the salmon loaf on page 58. It looks amazing. Yeah, that's right. It kind of is reminiscent of a meatloaf, but probably a little healthier there too.
Yes.
So did you come up with all these recipes yourself?
I did. I based a lot of them on classics. A few of them are really special recipes I found in old newspapers, like the recipe for the whips, and there's a lemon cake recipe that a woman provided in the paper. So I really enjoyed going through and researching for the book.
She's Veronica Hinkey, and her book is The Great Gatsby, Cooking and Entertaining. It's a gorgeous book. Cooking and Entertaining Guide. I love the Art Deco motif. Veronica, I hope it sells big time, and thank you for coming in and sharing it. Hopefully a lot of people will go with the Art Deco Great Gatsby theme for their New Year's Eve celebrations, right?
Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. We'll be right back with more after this.
Ring in 2026 with Fox Chicago.
Welcome back. Fans around the world are mourning the loss of legendary French film star Brigitte Bardot. She passed away at her home in France. No word yet on the cause of death here. In addition to starring in movies, Bardot was also a model, a singer, an animal rights activist, and of course, sex symbol of the 1950s and 1960s. Fans left flowers and pictures in a makeshift memorial right outside her seaside home in Saint-Tropez. Bardot, was 91 years old. James Cameron's latest Avatar movie is the biggest hit of this year's holiday season thus far. The third chapter earned another $64 million in North America. Avatar: Fire and Ash remains the box office king for a second weekend in a row. The sequel to Zootopia holding steady in second place with $20 million. And Timothée Chalamet's Marty Supreme debuted in third place with $17.5 million. And there's just a couple more days left here in 2025. So what will 2026 bring? We know some things are on trend here. Mike Emanuel takes a look at next year.
As we close out 2025, there's plenty to look forward to in the new year, from global sporting events to one very big birthday celebration. Let's take a look at what's ahead in 2026. It's going to be a big year for sports, and it all starts in February at the Winter Olympics. The Milan Cortina Games will be held in Italy from the 6th through the 22nd, marking the first time the country has hosted the Games in 2 decades.
They will actually be held across a large swathe of northern Italy in the most widespread Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games ever.
Just 2 days after the Olympic Games begin, Super Bowl 60 gets underway at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. While the final matchup hasn't been determined yet, we do know who will be headlining the halftime show. Global superstar Bad Bunny's expected to draw plenty of viewers as one of the most streamed artists in the world. But his selection did spark some backlash, with critics calling out the Puerto Rican performer's decision to skip the U.S. while touring this year, over his fear that ICE would raid his concerts. Despite some calls for a new performer, the NFL is standing by its pick.
I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. It's pretty hard to do it when you have literally hundreds of millions of people that are watching.
The action continues in the summer at the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
United States of America.
The U.S. is co-hosting the tournament with Canada and Mexico, with 11 cities across the country set to welcome soccer fans from around the globe.
I should not say soccer because I know what it's called. The rest of the world calls it football.
The 2026 tournament will be bigger than ever before, with 48 teams expanded from 32, competing in 104 games over 5 weeks. In the first round, the U.S. team heads to Los Angeles, where they'll face off against Paraguay and Australia. The World Cup kicks off on June 11th, right here on Fox.
This will be a time like you've never had in your lives.
Get ready to party like it's 1776. This year, America will celebrate a big birthday on July 4th, marking 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There will be celebrations across the country throughout the year, like historical reenactments, including the Boston Tea Party and Paul Revere's Ride, major museum exhibits, and various educational programs.
We will renew the patriotism, pride, and pioneering spirit of America and lay the groundwork for the next 250 years of independence and freedom.
Celebrations will culminate in a massive Independence Day celebration in our nation's capital. And in the fall, Americans will head to the polls for the midterm elections. Democrats will be looking to extend gains they made this November. Key wins in states like New Jersey and Virginia have ramped up the pressure for the GOP, who hope to retain their razor-thin majority. With the economy remaining a top issue for Americans, Democrats are zeroing in on what they are calling an affordability crisis.
Costs are not down, they're going up.
Meanwhile, President Trump and Republicans are putting the focus on policies they say are helping to bolster the economy, including the rollback of fuel efficiency standards, cuts to prescription drug prices, and baby bonds.
We've stopped inflation in its tracks, and there's still more to do. There's always more to do.
These are just some of the top stories we are looking ahead to in the new year, and we'll be here to cover it all. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
All right, coming up for us, a 9-year-old traveler makes a big discovery at the airport on his way to Vermont. Coming up, the urgent search to find its owner. And Caitlin will have a final check of the forecast coming up right after this short break. All right, here's the story of a small act of honesty during a very busy travel period. A 9-year-old traveler found a lost engagement ring on the ground at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta, and now he is hoping it will be reunited with the owner.
I do hope the owner finds it because that ring could mean something really important to them.
Ah, good kid there. He was going down the escalator when he saw the ring. He grabbed it. His family gave it to a Delta Airlines employee at the Sky Club, where they placed it in the lost and found. It's a beautiful ring. So far, no update on if it has been claimed. But we'll see what happens there, Caitlin. I'm just hoping that the, the fiancés didn't get in a fight at the airport